Hi, my name is Seb Jarakian, and I run a company called MuSync with Randy Schroeder, and we're a music licensing company. We represent musicians, indie bands, labels, and we license their music to film, television, advertising, video games, and more. And we wrote a book called Music Licensing Insider's Guide.
We felt a strong need to provide musicians with the ability to know and understand how to get their music in the hands of people that actually license their music. The problem currently is that musicians have very few ways to make money, and CD sales, and there's been so much piracy in that industry that what happens now is people can license their music and make some money if they're good enough, and that's what we focus on. That's what our book focuses on.
My name is Roger Pierre. I have a small publishing company. We do conjuring magic, which is mainly close-up. We use cards, coins, and we've been publishing since '75. In 1975, I published a book on the magic of Francis Carlyle. About 5 years ago, while surfing the internet, I always check up on how the old copies of my books are selling and all. And in Google, it came up where someone said, "Well, I like this, but when's the CD coming out?" And I go, as a publisher, what CD? So I started following it backwards, and I backtrailed into a fact that somebody was coming out with a CD that had a beautiful scan of my book in it.
So our book is available on Amazon and also iBooks at Apple. And then we have a version that contains directories. And the irony of the whole thing is here we are helping musicians because of piracy issues that have thwarted their ability to make money. And then we have people that are pirating our book. And it's just a crazy cycle that hopefully someday there'll be a way of preventing.
When our book was pirated, we found out from a Google alert that it was hosted on a social sharing site, and basically contacted the organization to pull down the book. A couple of them were fairly easy. They were actually companies based out of San Francisco, so it was very easy to contact them and to have them pull it down. One of them was a little more complicated. I believe it was a company in Europe, and they were kind of giving us a little runaround, and they actually gave us a notification saying that we have to abide by some kind of international law or something. I don't remember what it was. So basically we had our attorney contact them and kind of scared them to take the book down.
Luckily, because I had taken the precautions of doing a proper, full copyright on the book, we were able to negotiate something that I think that was acceptable to both of us. I think what happens is that there are a lot of magicians that have passed away whose families don't really follow through properly. It's been passed, especially for the ones that are the older books that have come out of copyright or close to it anyway. And so there are a lot of reputable publishers of magic out there that are searching these books out and taking advantage of the fact that there's nobody to do it. But you still don't really know whether they're just trying to sneak something around you or not.
There's no real way of knowing how many books would be pirated, because once it goes up on a site like that, it's a new item. A new item is the hot thing because it's usually at the top. And there are millions and millions of musicians that want this material. It's highly likely that they could have taken thousands. And the book on Amazon is $9.95, so you can do the math and see that it's not a small amount. At the same time, you just are at a loss of what to do other than contact the company that's hosting it.
You have up to $150,000 in statutory damages, especially if you had a track record. Like in my case, my book sold out twice. So I think it would have been an easy case for me to show that if I had put out as many books as he had put out CDs, I might have made such a certain amount of money and then gotten my money back that way.
One of the sad parts to me about the whole piracy issue is that it actually starts thwarting creativity, because it's happening with musicians, it's happening with photographers. Things just become a commodity, and it keeps people from wanting to actually protect their work and be creative and put things out there.
I think everybody's really into getting things for free, and that's what's going on here. I think maybe there's a future technology where if books are digital, if you download it, it only has like a certain amount of it available, and then when you pay for it, it unlocks the rest. But I'm sure people figure out ways to unlock it for free anyway, so I think it's a tough one.
I think the internet's a double-edged sword. First of all, it may be where they're taking your material, but at the same time, it's a perfect place to go to find out about copywriting. The government's it's a little dry, but if you even go to Wiki, I found the Wiki had distilled it quite nicely into 5 sections, and it's pretty well explained to you. You are able to do this by yourself. I didn't go to a lawyer when I copyrighted my book. All the materials are available from the Copyright Office. But definitely do not let this slip by. Whether you're doing a digital movie, a digital book, please make sure you get copyright to have some protection.
I think more education about piracy, especially in countries that don't know about it, that's basically what it takes to educate people that they can't share copyrighted items. I mean, a lot of people steal a lot of things. People think that once you own music, you can take that music, and if you're producing your own film, you can take that music because you bought the CD, you can use it in your film, and it's yours, you have the rights to it, but you do not really have the rights to it. So I think education is in order to be put out there so that people are aware that when they're posting things that do not belong to them, there is a copyright behind it and they shouldn't do it.
You'd be amazed, even when I do mine, it even finds me, it finds things I've done, shows I've done, things like that. So I think the best way to protect yourself in these things is just on a regular basis, even if it's only once every 6 months or whatever, check yourself out.
What should be done about book pirates? I think more education is definitely in order, but how do you find a book pirate? The person that's putting up or sharing these books on the sharing sites, the companies that are hosting the material do not share or expose of the people that are sharing the material. So in the last 10, 15 years, I don't know how many people have gotten fines for doing the sharing, so I don't know what they're going to do similar to books. It's really tough, especially if they're from another country that's doing this, and how do you get all of the world governments involved? It's a complicated process. So I think more education and go from there.